Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning into the Intel Extreme Masters. We do appreciate your support. And of course, the European people right now are off to bed. Don't go to bed, because there's still some more StarCraft 2 to come. And you're going to enjoy these last three games. We've got a TVZ coming up next. James is back on the couch with me. But before we get to there, let's just talk about 4GG, because I built, we built him up, and he's the champion of DreamHack, just come off a hot streak, was fabulous over the weekend, destroyed Zergs, destroyed Protoss, destroyed Terran, and then he loses 2-1 in the opening game of the Intel Extreme Masters. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, as I said during the cast, I think that the flow of that series really worked out in Symbol's favour quite nicely. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened if 4GG hadn't have opened up a 2x in the first game, and that, if I think about it, because then he may not have felt that it was as good to go to like a 7 pool on Deadwing, for example, because again, how I was talking about the flow of 4GG's game and how he normally just swings back and forth between very, very strong ends of the spectrum in builds.
Yeah, one of the things I picked up from Symbol when we talked to him in the interview was that he said he went back last night, he studied 4GG, watched the match that he played against Life in DreamHack Final, and he figured out what kind of build he could build regardless of whatever 4GG might decide to do. Now, for me, that's a key moment for him, because as he goes through into the bracket in the semi-finals, he'll now face either GuMiho or HyuN, which is our next game, which we'll get to in a moment, by the way. But just to clear this up, the critical point here is something that you and I have spoken about a lot in the past, is preparation. And the Korean players that play in the GSL and the Pro League are renowned for that kind of one-match special preparation. They have this system where they will only play one match, so they focus on that one match. They know exactly how they're going to play it and how their build will unfold. And Symbol is used to that. 4GG should be used to it, but coming off the back of a big win at DreamHack and full of confidence and has flown here, a little bit jet lagged. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he's a different style of player. Do you think that may have played its part in what we've seen throughout the day today and not just in this match?
Well, it's a good point that you bring up. I mean, in theory, 4GG, whilst he's established himself in Europe and he's been here for a long time now, he has been technically out of that team, the Korean team house mentality and structure for a long, long time now. Of course, he probably still has these lessons that he's learned from the past and being a Kesper Pro in the past, etc. But he's been out of the loop for that for a while. So maybe that is something that does affect.
No, I definitely think that was an advantage for Symbol, was that he had one match to focus on today, and he did his homework last night for hours and hours and hours on one player. And was able to come here and deliver. Yeah,
and unfortunately for 4GG, it's not like he's known his opponent for that long, because Symbol has come through and has qualified forward, so it may have been a little bit more difficult for him to kind of prepare. Actually, I say that, it's like...
I mean, they were both at the same time, in effect.
Yeah, Symbol was in the same boat, but he was anticipating being in that boat, so...
Okay, let's move on to our next game, which is another Group C match. It's also a TVZ. GuMiho yesterday was terrific in the bracket. We thought that he might be the player that stood out in that bracket as well. Started off with a win against Tark and then ended the day against Super, winning that upper bracket final, which landed him in this group. He would not have been in this group had he not won that seed. So in a weird kind of way, he sort of penalised himself and got himself HyuN to play. But I don't know if he would have preferred to have been in one of the other groups as the 4th seed. Because they all look... I mean, he could have ended up against Rain.
Yeah, it's funny, because when I looked at the groups and when I thought where GuMiho was actually going to land, I'm a big fan of GuMiho going into this tournament. I'll preface that with that. Is that I was a little bit disappointed that he got put in this group, because I think this is a really, really strong group. But I think that GuMiho's skill set as a whole going into this group, and then especially going up against Zergs, really, really helps him out. I think that whilst we didn't really get to see him in TVZ, I think that he's good in this matchup. His multi-pronged attacks, and harassment-based tactics have always been good, so that really helps him out in this matchup as well. And just in general, he's a very strong macro-focused player and can do good throughout the middle of the game, even when he's like spearheading the middle of the map.
In 2013, it would be fair to say that HyuN was an ever-present player. He was numerous titles all over the place in terms of IEM, his DreamHack. He was everywhere. He was all over the place in 2013, but didn't get into BlizzCon on the basis that he didn't have enough points. The point system changed in 2014, and he had probably a better year this year for sure, but ended up the season at the very top end of that WCS points to go to BlizzCon. having won tournaments and also helped out the foreigners as well by losing a tournament so that the foreign players could win one. I think he tweeted something about the fact that he was just helping out foreign players by losing to Sen, because then Sen wins a game and that's the first foreigner that's won in 2 years. So he's helped the foreigners out as well. He's been very kind to us this year, but he's also had a terrific year overall. But what he would admit himself is that maybe some of the wins that he's had have been in slightly lower competitive tournaments that maybe he should have won. I mean, Gfinity sticks out as one where, he lost that tournament, but it was his for the taking. So there's been some hiccups along the way as well. How do you wrap it all up and rate his 2014?
I would say for a player like HyuN, I would say a good 2014. Obviously, if you're going to stick at the top rank in WCS, then it means you've accumulated a good set of prize money across the globe.
You've done all right.
Yeah, and he basically was flying everywhere, right? So, I mean, regardless of where he goes and how many places he would have gone, there was always going to be some hits and there was always going to be some misses, I think, because some tournaments just have some really, really good players out, whereas some of them might not do, and maybe he gets wins there. But it's by the by. Overall, HyuN is still one of those, again, ex-Kesper pros that has taken all of those lessons, learnt them, and he still applies them pretty well.
Yeah, in terms of his chances overall at the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, how would you rate them? Is he inside the top 4? Is he inside the top 8? Where would you put him?
At this tournament, I think there's a lot of really strong Korean powerhouses here. When you've got the likes of Rain in there, you've got like Hero in there. Me, to a lesser extent, I'm thinking like someone like GuMiho could be one of those people that even challenges for the top spots as long as he stays consistent, stays calm through tournaments that because people like GuMiho really haven't been to many of these other tournaments for a while.
We call those sleepers.
I guess so.
Yeah, because they kind of can do some damage here if people don't take them seriously. But I don't think there's any danger of HyuN not taking him seriously in this particular matchup.
Yeah, I think going into this one as well, HyuN, we've seen aggressive tendencies out of him in this matchup, and I don't think he'll want to let GuMiho let it go too far. So I'm expecting once again kind of aggressive styles coming out from HyuN and trying to finish it a little bit earlier.
The dynamic in this group is very interesting because we've got the 2 Zergs, 2 Terrans, and we've got Symbol, who I think we've established now he doesn't like playing Terrans. I think that's definitely what I got out of the 3 interviews we've had him over the last 2 days. And yet he won against 4GG today. So that really mixes that group up in a way that this match now becomes even more important in a way because they won't want to go through and play the opposite. They'll probably want to go through and play TVT or a ZvZ, won't they?
Yeah, but then if you get TVT,
that's why it's
an
difficult now, isn't it? Yeah, that's why it's difficult now.
TVT is an interesting one in this group because I haven't seen GuMiho's TVT for a long time, but we all know how good he has been in the past with TVT.
Yeah, but then you've got 4GG, who is just about the best TVT player in the world.
It's a pretty good group.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to go through and do that, would you? You wouldn't want to, go through. So in a way, GuMiho's sitting there thinking, okay, got to get the right map pool. Got to get the right maps that I want to play on. Got to win this game so I avoid having to play 4GG. But then HyuN actually, thinking about it, I think he might fancy a crack at Symbol. I mean, old friends.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't be too bad at all.
So it's tricky, isn't it, to figure out which one they want.
I get that. Like, if it was a ZvZ, if it boiled down to a ZvZ for the first spot, then that would be kind of interesting. I think HyuN would be probably more happy with that.
Might turn the group upside down as well. We're well into the map vetoes. We're going to have Deadwing to start things off. That's nice. Always like a bit of Deadwing in TVZ. King Sejong and Overgrowth, a little bit more standard in terms of the map pools as well. Have you been surprised by any of the maps today?
Not too much. I don't even mind Deadwing going through in the end. I'm wondering where they end up spawning, but again, there's always the opportunity for a good aggression. So as long as GuMiho locks down, I think GuMiho can transition into the later stages of the game really, really nicely against HyuN here. I think he's got a good shot.
Okay. We're going to go to our commentary desk in a minute, but we have a surprise guest on that desk before we head over there. Did you, just want to ask you, did you read the Team Liquid preview in the end?
I read the first half.
You didn't read the second half?
I didn't.
James.
I saw the red disclaimer and then didn't have time.
James.
And then, yeah.
James.
I will eventually.
James.
All right.
Please.
Normally I read them. I read them all, but I will read it at some point. It's fine.
Kalaris Killing Esports. Do go and read the Team Liquid preview for the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose, particularly the second half, which James didn't read, which is particularly fun. I think you'll like that. And our next guest on the casting station, I'm sure, has got some words to say about it. Joining Rotterdam on the casting desk for our next match is the one and only Cats.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We are ready for this next best of three. I'm a little bit upset right now because Carmack, of course, the Intel Extreme Masters product manager, he just came over and he saw we were like about to take a picture and he's like, oh, don't worry, I can take your picture. But why do I keep trusting Carmack? Of course, he didn't just take the picture. He just had to tweet out again that I love a football team that I'm not particularly a big fan of. But I don't know why I keep falling for this, Kat.
Yeah, he tried to get me to get Todd outside of the... But Todd logged out before moving from the analysis desk. It was actually quite impressive.
I don't know how I keep falling for this. This is the second time this weekend, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the last one. Anyways, we are going to talk about TVZ. It's lovely to have you next to me. As of course, you know more about this matchup than I do. But this is an interesting one for many reasons. This man on your screen. The boys were talking about it on the couch. HyuN. He's a Premier League tournament performer. He goes to pretty much every single tournament this year. I don't really want to bring in the WCS points, but just to put things in perspective, HyuN has collected 6,300 WCS points. He won a WCS championship. He attended numerous DreamHack events, a couple of IEMs every single season of WCS America. Of course, the last few weeks haven't really gone the way that he would love to. As he, of course, lost in the round of 16 against Innovation. He also lost in the round of 8 against Asia. He goes up against a player that's actually coming off a pretty hot streak, mostly online tournaments. But how many WCS points do you think GuMiho earned this year?
None, I think.
Yes, absolutely none.
Yeah, it's been quite a year for GuMiho. And yeah, like you said, I mean, HyuN has made more WCS points than most foreigners have made in money. So that's quite impressive.
I think it's super weird going into a series like that when you look at those numbers and then you're like, well, this should kind of be a walkover, right? I mean, I know WCS points don't mean everything, but the guy who finished the year second highest or second best performer when it comes to WCS points goes up against a player that has collected 0 WCS points. Well, I don't think it's going to be like that at all. If you go over GuMiho's results over the last few weeks, he's been participating a lot in the Live Fan Cups, actually did very well in them, has defeated players like Solar, Revival twice, Boom Boom as well. He also performed very well in the 32 Boys 1 Cup tournament that was organized by Base Trade TV. He made it all the way to the final. GuMiho is actually performing very well. He played well yesterday, he played extremely solid. And he goes up against HyuN that, saying that he's lost in this matchup goes a little far, but he's not really on point either.
Yeah, you could say that, I suppose. HyuN is a player that favors... this is going to be a strange ZvT, by the way. Like, we can just say that right off the bat, because both players favor styles that are not the norm. And I think you can see that alone in the map vetoes. Traditionally speaking, all these map vetoes, or the maps chosen, you know, Deadwing, Overgrowth, and King Sejong, I think most Zerg players would agree are the best 3 maps for Zerg versus Terran in the map pool. So why do these maps go through? Well, guess what? GuMiho is great at mech. That's what he does. These maps, Deadwing and King Sejong Station, the 2 maps that the Terran would most likely veto normally, are actually splendid for mech. So I think that GuMiho is kind of saying, I'm going mech, you can know I'm going mech, and that's what I'm going to do anyway. And that's kind of what HyuN is expecting. I was talking to him about it a little bit before the game as well.
It would be cool to see some mech, and it would definitely be cool to see a couple of long games today as well, because this is already the sixth best of 3 of the day. We have been going through all of these series at rapid pace. Of course, we had a couple of big dogs going up against players that are not very or not really favorites for this tournament. So you could say like, I expect a quick series or 2, but multiple of these series, like especially the last one, seeing 4GG go up against Simbo, you're like, all right, this is going to be nice. I'm going to sit for it. I'm going to open a bag of popcorn. This is going to be a 1-hour slugfest, perhaps. But no, I walk outside. I come back. Or actually, I had to take some pictures with Helena. And I come back and the score is 1-1, and I see a Roach Queen all in Game 3. I was like, you know, what is happening? But I think this is a series that is going to last for a while. GuMiho is probably going to take his sweet time. HyuN is a player that is not afraid to think outside of the box. He's very aggressive, and he's not afraid to all in if he thinks that it's going to work. But he's also a player that loves to macro up. He loves to run around with units and get a lot of drones, take map control, and of course dictate the pace of the game, which shouldn't be super hard if you play against a mech player, because if the mech player is dictating the pace of the game in this matchup, well, they may as well tap out.
Yeah, I mean, he's an excellent multitasker, so we're not probably going to see him sit back and Tech to Turtle Swarm Host. I was talking to him. He might go Muta into Swarm Host, but I doubt he's gonna try and turtle up, you know? HyuN, traditionally, with his roaches, he's extremely active. And, you know, I was saying, I was dissing him a little bit. It's like, all you do is roach, and that's what you're doing. He's like, yeah, and then I was like, so what are you gonna do against GuMiho? He's like, I don't know. Maybe roach?
They're always quite secretive about these things when you ask them. One of the guys who's always honest is Bomber. Like, whenever I ask Bomber something, he just gives me the most honest answer ever. And then, like, when the cast goes live, I was like, all right, on this map, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bomber. Because, you know,
Yeah.
but most of the time, I was like, you know, Bomber told me. And then he does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But HyuN is one of those guys. He's very friendly, he jokes around a lot. He comes up, he gives everybody a hug. But don't ask him about strategies.
No. he was actually like, I'm expecting mech, but like he was telling me he came here to kind of have a good time more than anything. So he didn't really have strategies in mind, but he knows that roach openers in general are good against mech, you know? Like normally speaking, if you scout mech early enough, you want to be going roach, well, HyuN might be going roach anyway.
Before we are loaded into the game, as we are loading into Deathwing right now, how important are spawning locations on this map if you play against mech?
Pretty important, but I don't think that they're gonna be the decision maker. I think that regardless of the spawns, this is the most common map for mech.
Oh, actually, for a second I thought we were going into the Nimbus, but the moment I said Deathwing, I was like, it's Deathwing. Anyway, so you guys can see here we are loaded into the 6th best of 3 of the day already. Over here on the left top side of the map, playing in Group C, representing Rocket, it is HyuN. The Roach King himself has collected lots and lots and lots of esports dollars throughout the years. And the only thing he has more than esports dollars is probably MLs, because he travels so often.
Yeah, he does. And like you said, such a friendly guy. Both of them so cheery, so much personality. GuMiho always happy, even though his English is perhaps not as good as HyuN's. He's extremely friendly as well.
Yep. GuMiho is, of course, the Red Terran player spawning in the left bottom side of Deathwing, representing his still relatively new team, Invasion Esport. I had the chance to chat up with the manager a little bit as well of the team. He's here. Seems to be a very cool guy, helping out a couple of Koreans that I wouldn't really say were lost or on a dead track, but we just didn't hear much from him. The only thing that we didn't mention yet, and I think that is important to mention, is that despite GuMiho not collecting any WCS points this year, he did participate in that one team league that we all love to watch, that we all, especially late at night if you live at the West Coast, of course, talking about the Pro League. He played a couple of games for CJ Entus. He went 5-3 in Pro League. Now, if you're not familiar with Pro League, you're like, 5-3, that's like average, right? No, that's really good.
Yeah, 51% win rate in Pro League is excellent. So 5-3 is very, very good.
I'm surprised that he actually didn't have more games to his name when he had done so well in the games that he's played. Anyways, we see HyuN go hatch first. Of course, that is not a big surprise on this map. What would have to happen for HyuN not to go hatch first on Deathwing?
Not sure. Maybe playing someone like 4GG or MMA, knowing that the potential for 2 is there. But on this map,
or the
even
Muslim.
that is,
So you're saying
Muslim,
if he plays the Muslim, he will most likely go pool first.
Yeah, man. Pool first.
See the gas go down as well. We'll most likely just mine 100 gas and then stop for a bit. The Reaper is on the production tab for GuMiho. So are you 100% convinced that GuMiho goes mech, or do you think there is a chance we'll just see him play some good old bio?
I mean, there's a slight chance. The map picking could have been somewhat mind games by GuMiho, and kind of, you know, he could play off of that. But I mean, you would expect him to go mech on this map.
Second Reaper on the way as well. I think this is the first time in this weekend that we see a double Reaper opening in this matchup.
Yeah, and he's actually going to scout the right location first. Of course, the Overlord revealed itself at this point, so he will know where the Zerg player is, but still pretty good, especially because he's going for the 2 Reapers.
There is just one direction for this Reaper, and it's the right one.
Yep.
It was a One Direction joke. Harstem listens to One Direction all the time when he's playing.
Really? Is that what he's... Can you make out what he's singing? Because I can't.
Yep, he always just says, like, he looks at his probes and he said, that's what makes you beautiful, when they carry minerals to his main nexus.
Yeah. And 4 Zerglings, pretty normal here by my man HyuN. Not much going on. Pretty standard game so far still.
Yeah, good micro. Of course, you don't want to lose any drones to this early game skirmish. We go over this pretty much every single TVZ we cast. It's very important. Losing a Zergling, no biggie. Taking a couple of hits on these other Zerglings, no big deal. Having a couple of drones low on HP is not a big deal either. They regenerate anyway. Just don't lose any drones. It's more of a mental defeat than anything else. Even though one drone hurts, it's you know, it's not going to be game-ending damage. But you just don't want to be losing a drone because you're going to beat yourself up over it. Oh, this Reaper is actually going to take quite a bit of damage from the Queen. We'll get out of it eventually, but that was close.
Yep, HyuN did make 6 links instead of 4, but the last 2 popped a little bit later. And had they popped at the same time, oh wow! Look at the production tab, Rowdy.
Double commencer there, and a lot of Zerglings.
Lots of links. Yeah, that's quite uncommon for the Zerg player, and quite unexpected by HyuN as well. And this is perfect as well for him because GuMiho did go for 3 Reapers.
Yep, he's gonna get a pretty sweet surround on these Reapers most likely, even though these Reapers can hop and down cliffs for a bit. With this amount of Zerglings, HyuN should eventually be able to get this around. Speed is going to be ready. Now he's already sending a couple of Zerglings to the low ground. He needs a few more Zerglings on the high ground as well, though. GuMiho is not falling for the trick at first, but here they come, man. GuMiho is doing this really well. Man, this is actually very frustrating. Now he goes back to the other side.
And they're going to regenerate, so this is backfiring for HyuN. If he can't get this Reapers, this will be a very bad investment for him. He gets one.
Yeah, but like you said, they're still regenerating. They're going to hop onto the high ground again over here, all the way on the right side. Very well done. 18 more Zerglings. Is HyuN just mad? Or what's going on? He's supply block and he's making 18 more Zerglings. Okay, he's going to morph a drone into a hatchery, but still, he still has money in the bank.
Yeah, it's possible that he got supply block before that. I wasn't paying attention. And then the Zerglings are kind of the only thing that you can do, because otherwise your build will be so ineffective. Or so inefficient, rather.
But I'm a little bit shocked to see him make this amount of Zerglings. I don't feel he has a whole lot of options to transition out of this. GuMiho did miss that first set of Zerglings that swing around from the left side. And of course the Baning Nest going down as well. Is his hatch just a fake? Is he just like pretending like, hey, by the way, I'm going up to 3 bases. Like, just do your thing at home. You don't have to worry about anything.
My best guess would be that he got supply blocked and made the Zerglings. And now he's going to make the best happen.
But this is good because now HyuN is going to be able to make a Zergling spawn on top of these Hellions. Of course, it's not for free. Zerglings, where are you?
HyuN gets in at the same time though. So both players are going to do a lot of damage, perhaps crippling damage to both, and this might turn into a really weird game, but the Hellions are not done here.
Well, look at that Viking though. That one Viking on the ground is actually... he should have repaired it. He should have been protecting it with the SCVs. He's going to lift it up for a bit, but he's losing so many SCVs at home. 23 SCVs have gone down already. Sweet Jesus, and not a single Baneling was morphed. At the same time, still more Zerglings are on the way. Oh, GuMiho, did he raise the
7 SCVs against 18 drones. So this is actually a fantastic position for HyuN.
Is it though? Triple orbital?
Yeah, triple orbital can be a pain in the ass. So
yeah,
it's a little
GuMiho needs to renew his wall. Like, this is not a wall, and he needs a wall. He needs a wall very, very, very soon. Because, I mean, 18 drones is... Okay, now it's only 4 SCVs. Orbitals are good. There goes the reactor. That's going to help a little bit. He's going to raise the depot. One more SCV. Oh, I thought was going to fall. What a weird, bizarre game we have on our hands over here, cats.
It really is, and if you think about it a little bit more, if you look at the gases, GuMiho was going for mech for sure this game. Not sure if he is anymore, but he did take 4 gases really quickly.
Okay. The Banelings are about to bust through, but the Orbital is going to make some sort of a double wall. So these few Banelings is not going to be enough to actually bust through. This is just ridiculous. I have no idea what we're watching over here. This factory, GuMiho, you have something to repair it, right? He's going to make a wall behind the factory, okay.
Yeah, and however that factory falling down means GuMiho has no means to really produce any units. That's going to be
might be game over.
Yeah.
Wow, HyuN with just a ridiculous amount of Zerglings will pick up game number 1 on that wing. I think that was a little bit sloppy in the later stages there by GuMiho. Of course, this game was bizarre, it was not, and he barely has any workers. But repair your factory. If that factory stays alive, then you still have 3 orbital commands that you can work with. He was aware of the fact that he killed quite a few drones as well, and HyuN produced nothing but units that, even if this turns into like 18 drones against 5 SUVs, GuMiho is far from out of it.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake is right here on the screen right now, not paying attention. Well, it's not so much a mistake as much as it is, you know, HyuN prioritizing the attack over the defense and just going in right away.
Yeah. You have to know when you knock on a Zerg's natural door and there's only a queen and there are really not that many drones and he's going up to 3 bases as well and he made Zerglings early on, that something is off. Like, my 4 Hellions and 2 Reapers are not supposed to just dance in your natural and kill like 7, 8, 9 drones. Against a player like HyuN, it's not supposed to be that easy, and whenever something is that easy, something is up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. So I think that maybe GuMiho could have smelled it a little bit better, but HyuN also did a great job of sneaking out the Zerglings.
Yeah, he did. And the hatchery as well sold a little bit of a story. Like, okay, I made a few links early on, but now I'm just going to try to economically recover. I'm going up to 3 bases. But yeah, the moment he should have gone, the moment that those Hellions and Reapers entered the natural, I think alarm bells should have gone off for GuMiho, because you're not supposed to kill drones, especially if he has that few in that phase in the game.
Here's the alternative train of thought, though. HyuN did make a lot of links. It was just way earlier, and he lost them all. So maybe GuMiho thought, maybe you're just trying to catch up and make drones right now. I just got a queen. Maybe you'll have no units.
I understand that, but then he should still have way more drones in the natural.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways, as you guys can see, we are loaded into game number 2 that is going to be played on Overgrowth. This man, the Roach King himself, representing Rocket, is of course HyuN, spawning on the right top side of the map. Picked up a very quick and easy game number 1 victory there. Or easy, well, it was hectic against this very talented Red Terran player. He's been around for a long time, but it's been very quiet around him in 2014. Other than a few Pro League appearances, it is GuMiho. Kalaris seems to be a little bit on the GuMiho hype train this weekend.
I mean, he is an excellent player, a very well-respected player amongst Koreans. So he's not to be toyed around with.
No, he's someone that you can jump on the train and you get a nice ride out of it. But I'd rather jump on the rain train. You know, that one keeps on rolling.
Yeah. That's the safe train, man.
That's the safe train. That's like a TGV.
No stops.
Straight lines. The bullet train.
Yeah,
you have trains and then you have bullet trains.
Yeah, goes underwater.
Through wind, sun, and rain.
Yeah, and talking about True, they're gonna play. Rain and True are gonna play tomorrow, I think, right? Or next time around.
Yes, you're correct.
Should be pretty
Man, this is a whole new StarCraft 2 potential matchup meta.
Yeah, it really is.
We see another hatch first over here on the top side of the map for HyuN, while we saw the refinery go down in the main base of GuMiho. We'll most likely open up with the Reaper once more. It's unfortunate for GuMiho that the game played out the way it did, because those Reapers, despite the fact that HyuN made quite a few Zerglings early on, those Reapers stayed around for a very long time. They're doing a very good job hopping up and down cliffs, picking off as many Zerglings as they can, regenerate. In the end, one Reaper did fall, but you know, in our scenario, most of the time all 3 Reapers would have died, so he made the best out of that situation early on.
Yeah, he really did. And you know, going mech, one of the last things that you're worried about is links, because you're producing more Hellions than normal. So very, very, very sneaky win by HyuN there.
Yep. Would you say it was a win that he was normally not supposed to get on paper with those builds?
Yeah, I mean, on paper, the supply depot goes up, right? Maybe even the Hellions pull back, but I mean, StarCraft 2, attention is one of the most important resources. So, you know, that's a skill to have.
All right, Cats, as expert Zerg player yourself, talk to me about TVZ on this map. Of course, Overgrowth is a very common map, and we see a lot of TVZs in general. But like you mentioned multiple times already, GuMiho has a pretty unique way of playing this map. So taking GuMiho styles into consideration, is this something that we should really look out for on Overgrowth?
Yeah, the only question I have is whether he's gonna go mech all 3 games if it goes to a 3rd game. So if he's not, then perhaps Overgrowth is the map to skip mech on. But if he's comfortable enough going mech every map, then Overgrowth is a pretty good mech map, and it's usually the map that is considered a good Zerg map against Terran, or an even Zerg map against Terran that goes through the vetoes.
Yeah, I mean, Overgrowth pretty much, nobody vetoes Overgrowth. How we used to never veto Frost, people just don't veto Overgrowth.
We used to not veto Metalopolis. Roddy, what happened to that? Everyone hating on that now.
That was a great gentleman's agreement. I could get behind that.
Yeah.
I remember when Metalopolis sticked around for much longer than any other map, and then I asked Naniwa about it once, and even Naniwa said like, Metalopolis is a really good map.
Yeah, it once was.
In that meta. Goody really liked Metalopolis as well, especially close spawns.
Of course he did.
I don't think Goody ever lost a game.
Close spawns Metalopolis was really something.
Yes. And then you could actually get away with secret bases on Metalopolis. That's how bad we used to be in this game.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is a really big map. You can check all those bases.
It was a really big map.
once again, we have 16 Zerglings on the production tab. That is a few more Zerglings than you normally expect Zerg players of the caliber of HyuN to make in this phase in the game. He's going to be able to pick off these two Marines and that Reaper most likely as well. Like, yeah, that Reaper is so dead.
Yeah, if it ain't broken, don't change it, Roddy.
Well, but I mean, this time GuMiho should really be aware of it. He should raise the depots. Well, so far nothing is raised. He has quite a few SCVs actually in his natural as well. The Hellions are going to be, well, we have two Hellions here. That's going to push back the first wave of Zerglings. HyuN is droning up behind this, and he's also going up to 3 bases. So he's not going to go all out with it, and we can see GuMiho obviously being a little paranoid, taking last game, or still having the last game so fresh in his memory.
He's probably scratching his head, asking himself, where's your roaches, man? I'm expecting your roaches. Where are they?
He looks a little angry. He's like, look at you, making all these Zerglings.
He's always happy. He's smiling inside.
Yeah, he has a little bit of the same posture as Happy. You know, the chin down and a very intense look.
True.
The Russian Happy, Terran player Happy kind of looks like
course.
that. But Happy is even closer to the screen.
Yeah, and the wall will be finished perhaps before the Zerglings are able to come in. So GuMiho being very cautious, not moving out with 4 Hellions, but waiting for the 6 to make sure that he has a wall in place this time around. No wall last game. And he's also playing it much safer. Not going for the 3rd CC, but Cloak Banshees instead.
Alright, well, we have a lot of Hellions that are about to enter the natural. There are a few Zerglings over here, but that's not enough. Where are the other Zerglings? They're still actually all the way at the bottom side of the map, so this is going to be a little bit tricky for you. Most likely end up losing a few drones. So far, these Zerglings are really messing with the AI of these Hellions, though. Hellions not getting the big money shots off. Like, yeah, he killed more than just a handful of drones there, but...
that actually did a lot of damage.
Yeah,
HyuN,
exactly.
HyuN needs to do something because he's down.
Well,
11 workers now.
He's making 11 Banelings, and this one SCV is about to find these 11 Banelings, morphing right outside of the natural, with a Banshee on the way as well. Actually, a Banshee is already out, I believe. I think that GuMiho is going to be fine. He's even lowering the depots there. I wouldn't really go that crazy. The Zerglings and Banelings will stream in. Can these Banelings get a couple of big dream connections with SCVs? No, not yet. Maybe in the main mineral line, there's still 2 more Banelings that are making their way over to that SCV line. Oh, well done there by GuMiho.
Where is it? Stop chasing them.
Wow, that was
Right.
bad by HyuN. All of the SCVs in the main are extremely low in HP, but nothing died because he didn't connect them. He didn't blow them up at the same time.
Yeah.
GuMiho is in a really good position now.
Yeah, he really is. Again, he played a safe style both against this sort of thing and against something like a Roach.
Let's take a look at the main base. Let's take a look at the main SCV line from GuMiho. These 2 Banelings connected with every single SCV there, but just not in range of each other. Well, okay, not every SCV, but Flow making me look bad.
Yeah, maybe a lot of them. For
Quite a few were red.
the ones in the gas. Oh, actually, some of the ones in the gas as well. So, I'm not sure how there's like 3 SCVs with full HP.
Yeah, and like
but
when
the
you
ones in
select
the
them
gas
all.
but look at the ones in. It's like red, green, red. I guess we're pretty close to Christmas now.
Well, GuMiho so far having the time of his life because he's of course aware of the fact like, well, if you make that many Zerglings and I killed a few of your drones as well, I highly doubt that you have a very good economy at home. I'm going to make a few more Hellions. I'm going to force you to still get your static defenses up. Of course, the presence of this Banshee is forcing out a few Spore Crawlers as well. There is even Cloak on the way. Maybe the Zerglings spotted that, or Cloak has finished up, of course, sorry. Maybe the Zerglings saw the Tech Lab spinning. But yeah, great scenario for GuMiho here and an unfortunate one for HyuN. Not the series that I expected so far. I have no idea what's going on today, but everybody seems to be in a hurry.
Yeah, it's HyuN that's switching it up here.
I know it's Thursday night football, but come on, guys. There's still a lot of money on the line over here.
Yeah, man, I don't watch football. I wouldn't. I don't know. Thursday night football, is that a thing?
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right.
But I highly doubt that most of the Koreans are aware of it. I mean, look at these Hellbats. These Hellbats are just having a field day in this base that's completely empty. These Banshees as well. If that Spore Crawler goes down, that means there's not going to be any detection here. I would love to see him just go for it. I mean, 2 Banshees will take out that Spore in pretty quick fashion.
Yeah, and this time around it kind of went how you would expect it to go, a strategy like this. So I think HyuN should have kind of been like, all right, maybe I shouldn't push my luck this game, but GuMiho reacting very well, still going for mech this game. An early tell for mech, if you're at home, I suppose, you know, the lack of tech lab in the barracks is a big tell. So,
and of course the fact that he already produced like 18 Hellions and he still has a few.
Yeah, that's also a big tell. Whenever you see 3 factories and 1 barracks, that's also a...
You know, he may just be going back, unless you're 40G. A couple of good Baneling connections there. It blows up the majority of these Hellions, but I still just don't think that HyuN has the economy to ever follow up the aggression that he's throwing at GuMiho now. Like, yeah, these Banelings are breaking through, but there is no follow-up. Well, he killed a bunch of depots. At the same time, Look at that green burrowing right next to the hatchery. That's funny, man. Surprise Pokemon tactics over there.
Pokemon tactics?
Yeah. Queen uses
Diglett?
burrow. It's very effective.
Yeah. It is when Diglett uses it, right? Is that all he does, Diglett?
Yeah.
Is there another Pokemon that does that?
Duck Trio?
Duck Tree. Oh, of course. That's like cheating. Come on. Can't use evolutions here.
Well, HyuN knows it, that he just has no economy left. Yes, he broke the depots, he broke the bunker, but he's not going to be able to secure that hatchery. He doesn't really have any drones left. GuMiho is probably like, I have no idea what happened, but I kind of like that because I killed a whole lot of Zerglings and a couple of drones early on. So, you know, we're back to even, and now instead of playing a best of 3, we're playing a best of 1. And it feels like this series still just has to begin. Man, he's drinking
really
smart water in the middle of the series. Do you think that gives him like additional insight on what's going to happen in game number 2?
I'm not sure it kicks in for a few days to the smart water. Cause
It's something like the side effects happen over time.
yeah, it's for tomorrow.
He's going to be really smart on the bus. He's going to give everyone a lecture about American history and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, here we see these Hellbats. Of course, it's extremely difficult to deal with Hellbats if you don't have Banings in time. There are a few Banings here, but you're splitting up these Hellbats. The Banshees picked up a couple of the Banelings before they were able to connect with these Hellbats. Good positioning on the units as well. Overall, just HyuN not able to clean this up. He made a lot of Zerglings early on. You know, doing that once to get a quick and cheap win in game 1 or in game 2, that's cool. But I would really love to see him play a little bit more normal, unless he's just extremely unconfident in this matchup, which, you know, his result lately against Terran has not been what it used to be. He lost against Innovation in round of 16 of BlizzCon. Of course, that was not a huge shock, but still, he lost against Asia and Home Story Cup. He did beat 2 foreign Terrans. He beat Bunny and QXC, but yeah, like with the status of HyuN, he's a favorite going into a series like that.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe he's just a little bit. Maybe he's just feeling off in this matchup, and that's why he's being even more crazy than he normally is. And I'm used to crazy when I catch HyuN, but this is pushing it.
Yeah, and yeah, a lot of Zergs are uncomfortable in the matchup, and I think a lot of it has to do with the maps. But having said that, the 3 maps picked here are considered the best maps for Zerg, like I said before. So we'll see what HyuN can make happen here. I have to think that GuMiho is going to mech once again on King Sejong Station.
Of course, representing Rocket, he is the man, HyuN, in the left top side of King Sejong Station. Still looks pretty comfortable actually. He's like, yeah. You know, those games, those were kind of like my ladder games. The right bottom side of the map, we have the red Terran player representing his new team, Invasion Esport. It is GuMiho, or as Apollo would say, GuMiho.
Yeah. So this should be pretty good. HyuN, yeah, he is very confident. Actually, before the match, you know, he was telling me before that he had a 1-pack instead of a 6-pack. And I was like, I have a 1-pack as well. You know, like we're 1-pack brothers. And now he looks a little bit buffer, like he's been working out, you know? So I'm like, hey, dude, like, what happened? I thought we were 1-pack brothers for life. And he just started yelling in English, come at me, bro, come at me. So I think he's here to have fun. And when you're in that state of mind, you're always comfortable.
I mean, it really gets to show how much HyuN must love this game when he's been traveling that much for 2.5, 3 years non-stop now. There are really not a lot of tournaments that HyuN doesn't attend. We often make jokes that you can host a tournament in Montana or Idaho, and you know, if it's worth it for HyuN, he's going to be there. It doesn't matter. Even if it's he can win a bag of potatoes. He's like, cool, I'll get my sponsor. It's like, hey, can I win the potatoes in the potato state? And I'm going to be like, no, HyuN, it's not really worth the flight. He's going to be like, damn it. So this guy just travels around the world, attends every single tournament he can pretty much go to, and still just always has a blast. Most of the time, of course, he walks away with a nice amount of money that helps making this all a little bit more fun. But even when he does it, he's still a very pleasant figure to be around, and I guess he just truly enjoys playing this game, which is very nice to see, because some people, even though they're very successful, they can come across a little whiny. They can be complaining about this, complaining about that. HyuN, whenever he complains about balance, he always has this huge grin on his face. You know, he's a little cheeky.
Except when he does it in Korean, actually. Have you heard him? Earlier, he was talking to Jaedong, and he was just yelling and yelling.
I have not
like,
heard it.
What are you talking about, guys? He was like, Terran.
Those Zerg boys. But yeah, it's really cool to see how much passion he has for this game.
Yeah. And pretty standard opener once again. It looks like just the one Reaper this time, and adding out the reactor a little bit quicker onto the barracks. GuMiho is.
we'll see.
And you know, that's a very sensible response because HyuN has been going for the early gas and trying to chase down the Reapers. That's kind of the counter to the 3 Reaper opener.
Yep, he made way more Zerglings in all 2 games so far that we saw than Zerg players normally do. So maybe GuMiho is just like, oh well, if he just keeps doing that, I may as well just make 1 Reaper. Losing 1 Reaper is not that bad. Losing 3 Reapers, of course, slows the rest of the potential Terran production down by quite a bit.
Yep. Not just that, but HyuN has only made 3 queens in both of the previous games. The earlier the Hellions are to poke at those queens, and if he transitions perhaps into Banshee, he might be looking to abuse that playstyle, but we'll see. I think HyuN will adapt and perhaps add an extra queen or 2.
Now, before this game really kicks off, the other 2 players in this group are, of course, 4GG and Symbol. The winner of this series will go up against Symbol, who we just saw win the last series. I think for HyuN, that would be a very winnable matchup. He's always been pretty good in ZvT. You can say, I guess...
the queen's attacking the other queen. There's one crane.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is a misclick.
There is a queen fight.
Yeah, there's, well, not so much a fight.
Well, there's one guy like just being...
There we go.
There's one queen just being very mean to the other one. Oh, they made
she
up.
was extremely mean. I mean, if you look at the HP right now, that was...
This one queen is like, don't you turn your back on me!
it takes quite a while to lose that much HP. So, the Reaper will get caught though. The 3rd will go down, and HyuN's still on 3 queens, is he? So, he seems to prefer the Lynx for defense over the queens, and that really speaks to how much of an aggressive player he is. He will go ahead and hide this Lynx though, Roddy. This could be really good.
Trying to go for a small run by. This is something that Live does pretty much in every single game, and he always seems to get some money for his investment. GuMiho, his first 2 Hellions are making their way across the map now. These 2 Hellions are going to find the queens. Of course, there is a starport with Cloak on the way, but actually he's producing a Viking. Ah, that's completely fake. That's why. He's researching Cloak, but he's making a Viking.
Yeah, that's kind of cute. And the Lynx will get in once again, kill 5 SCVs perhaps for their troubles, but there will be 2 Hellions out to greet him. So this is not the greatest outcome, while the Hellions are doing a little bit of damage themselves.
Yeah, this is kind of funny because it's again an early game massacre on both sides. The Zergling getting a lot of SUV kills at the same time. These Hellions went to town on that mineral line, got quite a few drones, and now another Hellion is actually still being annoying in the main base. There is going to be a Banshee after all, after the Viking, so maybe just make that Viking early on to push away the Overlords and don't reveal the fact that he's going Cloak Banshee, but Cloak Banshee in his current state of, mech TVZ is not really the biggest surprise ever, so kind of surprised by how he went at it. The worker count is currently 39 drones against 25 SUVs, so this is actually gone very well for HyuN. His layer is of course a little late because of all the Zerglings he produced and still going up to 3 bases, but overall I think that this is exactly what he was looking for.
Yeah, I think so as well, but he was going for Banelings. He actually ended up cancelling those, and GuMiho is better prepared at least than in the first game. For sure, he hasn't dropped a 3rd CC yet, so he's kind of hoping for this. He's like, go ahead and try this again here.
Yeah. I mean, the moment that these Hellions and Banshees make their way across the map, these Zerglings will just run into the mineral line again in natural and again pick up a handful of SUVs and maybe a Mew or 2. So really interesting game. Both players just trying to outsmart each other. HyuN is making a couple of roaches as well. These could be roaches that he's going to use throughout the entire game, but could also just be defensive roaches because he sees the amount of Hellions. He's like, again, if all those Hellions morph into Hellbats,
yep,
things get a little tricky.
Look though, no tech lap on the barracks. Mech. Easy. Easy calls.
A lot of roaches on the way, 9-10 roaches. This one Cloak Banshee is actually going to get a few more drones than I thought it would. Overseer is morphing, Spore Crawl is on the way, but still, that was very well done there by GuMiho. This Banshee flies away with 9 kills.
Yeah, and just a little bit of damage, so that's going to be great for GuMiho getting back into this game. He will be dropping the 3rd CC at the 3rd.
Man, I'm very happy for HyuN that he decided to make a few more roaches than I think normally he would make in this phase of the game. He made 9, and that's the exact amount I think that he's going to need. These Banshees the Banshee is going to have to fly away against these Queens, and the roaches will take care of these Hellbats. Excellent defense so far by HyuN, and I'm really happy to see that he wasn't stubborn, still trying to run around with Zerglings and Zerglings only, because at a certain point Hellbats are just going to roast your Zerglings for days. So this was a really good call by HyuN. He's making 11 more roaches behind this though. He was supply blocked for a while, morphed in 3 Overlords, now he's making 11 more roaches. He's just going to try to win the game with roaches.
Yeah, and that's a very HyuN thing, especially on a map like this with back rocks. He can really abuse his multitasking.
Two Banshees raining down quite a bit of damage on these first roaches that made their way across the map. There is Banshee number 3 as well that was still being annoying on the north side of the map. I'm not sure if I like those 11 additional roaches he just produced. Ooh, okay. GuMiho did just end up losing one of his Banshees on the north side of the map. So that's actually a little bit tricky because 3 Banshees against roaches, well, they're going to take care of these roaches a lot quicker than 2 will.
Yeah, the first 6 roaches, if you might be wondering, you know, why did HyuN walk across the map with those roaches? It looks like a mistake, and I'm not sure if it was worth it. I mean, probably wasn't, but I think what he was trying to do was pull the units back of GuMiho so that these roaches are unscouted, because like you said, he's making more roaches at this stage in the game than he would normally make, and he's committing a lot to this.
And GuMiho can just smell it. Those Terran senses are tingling. He didn't see the roaches, but he was like, you know, I'd rather be safe than sorry, just in case. I'm not sure what's happening over here. These 11 roaches, the additional 11 roaches that HyuN produced after that first set of roaches, just didn't really accomplish anything over here. Got like 1 SCV, a few of them will escape, but this really helped GuMiho recovering economically and turning this into a game again slowly but steady. The missile turrets are already going up while the Spire is not even done yet. Of course, HyuN is in a good position economically, but these Banshees are most likely going to still kill a few drones. I think GuMiho can work with this more than that.
That was actually amazing decision making by HyuN to just not go straight for, you know, you have 3 Banshees, hey, let's go do some damage on the other side of the map. No, he thought about something like, why were your roaches on this side of the map? You must be trying to sneak something past me. And goes back without really seeing anything to kill a lot of roaches. And if these roaches hadn't been scouted, they could have potentially done a lot more damage.
If these 3 Banshees are on the other side of the map and 11 roaches show up in the natural, then GuMiho is again going to lose 10, 15 SCVs easily. That's not going to be the case this time. The only thing that you can say that these roaches have accomplished is forcing the Banshees to be at home all the time. So now soon we're going to have a bunch of Mutalisk out, and well, these Banshees, they don't really add a whole lot anymore. You may as well just keep them at home, because sending them across the map, that's just sending them straight into their grave.
Yeah, no upgrades yet at all for HyuN. He's now dropping the double Evo chambers, so he's quite behind on that. But he is trying to get a lot of bases and preparing for a mech game that he's expecting. We'll see if he goes into Swarm.
He has a good economy. Hatch number 4 and 5 are going up at the same time. He already has a very respectable Mutalisk number against a mech army, 13. He's also getting missile attacks already. I would like to see a few more Mutalisk though, because I feel that this is the type of game where Mutalisk can keep the Terran player at home for a very, very long amount of time.
Yeah. GuMiho with a Raven, a little bit uncharacteristic of every Terran player in the world, so that's pretty cool.
Unless you're Avilo.
Yeah, Avilo would have 3 Ravens, right?
He would be secret missiling these Mutalisks to death, man.
He would have 3 Ravens, 3 tanks, and 1,000,000 turrets.
And he's like, alright, this is where the game begins. Drop a few more command centers. Morph at least one of them into a planetary fortress just in case.
Exactly. HyuN doing a fantastic job of picking both tech labs up. So after these 2 Thors, no Thors or tanks will be produced for a little bit, except for 1 factory that's finishing the tech lab now.
Everybody's in a hurry today. GuMiho could have just taken his time and running around with the Thors a little bit, but he's like, nope, pick off a couple of tech labs. I don't care. I'm going to kill a bunch of bases on the other side of the map, because Mutalisk are expensive units. So I doubt we have a whole lot of other units. A few roaches run into the Thors. That's not a very good thing to do, unless you are with many.
This is such a hard decision to make as a Terran player, because those mutas alone can almost take this entire army down. So he's basically betting, you are banking on the fact that you have mutas on my side of the map and you think I don't have enough to move out, that, you know, my move out should be pretty effective.
I mean, there's almost no NTA. Imagine if HyuN would have just made a few more Mutalisks. If he has like 18 or 19 Mutalisks, he cleans his army up without losing anything.
Yeah,
but the transition unit was roaches, and of course tanks and Thors are actually pretty damn good against roaches. I still don't really like how this is going though for GuMiho. It's just not quick enough. He's giving HyuN too much time. Too many roaches are morphing at once. The roaches will be swimming in from all angles now.
The third actually just fall to the 3 Banshees. I actually loved this attack by GuMiho. I think it was the best call to make, and you know, HyuN wanted to go into Swarm Host. He wanted to go mutant into Swarm Host. The infestation pit is there. He was forced to make it more roaches.
I mean, the drone count is still very high. A couple of them will, of course, go down against these cloaked Banshees. GuMiho indeed did that a lot better. I did not expect him to kill that hatchery on the north side of the map. I thought, yeah, he might kill the 4th, maybe even the 5th, but if that's all he's going to kill, I don't think it was worth it, sacrificing all these mech units. But you make a very good point there. He did kill that 1 base, didn't kill a whole lot of drones. Man, today's games are just bizarre. It seems like everyone is.
I mean, he killed 2
hurry.
bases, right? And forced out units where HyuN perhaps was still looking to droning up even maybe a little bit more, and definitely looking to transition into Swarm Hosts. So it really slowed down the game. It kind of reset the game, and perhaps that's what GuMiho wants.
Yeah, I mean, right now GuMiho is in a very good economic position. They're pretty much even on workers. HyuN is not mining from one of his closest bases, and the base that he's going to send a lot of drones to soon is not a base that's very easy to defend. Actually, he doesn't even want to bother, so he's still long distance mining from his natural. If GuMiho, I mean, you know, how high is this farm is going to be? I don't know, Cats. I'm actually a little bit caught off guard, because this has been a bizarre game. This is not normally how the mech games play out on this match.
Yeah, absolutely not. Great decisions from both players all throughout the game. Just great decision making, especially from... I'm really impressed with GuMiho's game sense and how he's been taking this quote-unquote risks. Playing perfectly against HyuN's style so far, in my opinion.
The Swarmos number is currently non-existent. We do have 5 of them on the way, so 5 Swarmos is already a number that you definitely have to worry about as a Terran player.
Yeah, with 1 tank, I think this might be GuMiho's first mistake here, this push.
Yeah, he has a couple of Taurs. And he of course has the Banshees still as well, flying around on the south side of the map. Meanwhile, Vikings just sniping overlords left and right. Such an interesting little army composition. It really kind of reminds me of one of the games we saw from 4GG, where he was landing the Vikings all the time together with the Banshees. And I like Steven's quote, that's like one of these moves you see on the Blizzard box art. And it's like, nobody's ever going to use the Banshee or the Vikings like that. And then it's like, well...
No, man. Whenever I play Terran, there's Ultralisks out. I always land 1 Viking.
yeah, that one. Yeah, that's a great idea in general.
It's the thing to do, man. But yeah, a lot of Vikings and the Thors are pretty much gonna shut down most Mutalisks. I'm even surprised that HyuN's even trying to contest the air. So these Mutalisks are mostly gonna be for counter harassment at this point.
There's still a few Locusts over there, and the Thors, of course, don't want to just stand there, shoot away at Locusts, because Locusts kill any unit on the ground surprisingly fast. But these Vikings and Banshees are still doing some serious work. This Hatchery has lost half of its HP. Very interesting way, very interesting game so far, and very cool way that GuMiho has played it out. He's been extremely active with multiple groups on the map, and normally you say like, well, isn't that the game? Isn't that the purpose of StarCraft 2? Yes, if you play Bio, but with mech, that's normally not what we see.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, the Locust Wave too strong against a low number of tanks. That's why I thought pushing out with 1 tank was a mistake, but he's been so good about moving and not overcommitting with his units.
Okay, these Mutalisks are actually getting a very good trade-off over there against a couple of these Vikings, but of course they can't find in Tor range. As you guys can see, a couple of big Tor shots on these Mutalisks. The score is 1-1. If GuMiho wins this, he will move on to the winners match of his first international tournament in a very long time. Of course, that one will be played on Saturday in the big stadium in San Jose, and it's starting to look more and more like it. This has been a truly bizarre mech game, unlike anything I've seen in a while.
Yep, GuMiho has played this excellent. He's shut down all of HyuN's aggression while being aggressive himself and being able to make a lot happen with really small numbers of units. So he's in a fantastic position. HyuN's gonna have to find a way to crawl out of this.
It's really funny because normally after Mutalisk you do go into Roaches to deal with you know, the Taurs and stuff, but since he only had 2 Taurs in that first big push that did so much for him in the long run. Look at these Hellbats, by the way, getting a couple of really good shots off on the drones. If HyuN would have just made a few more Mutalisk, he would have cleaned up that push from GuMiho without losing anything. He kills the 2 Taurs and then it's just, you know, he's freeballing.
Yeah, and that's what makes the decision by GuMiho so fantastic, because he saw that the number of Muta wasn't growing. He saw that there weren't any Mutas reinforcing that Mutable that he had. So it was like, oh, 8, oh, I killed 2, now it's 6, and it's been 6 forever? Okay, buddy.
I'm just going to run across the map with 2 Taurs and a Raven and 3 Banshees and a couple of Hellbats and a few tanks.
A million tanks without any anti-air though, so he's going to have to pull back. Maybe the Mutas will pick off 1 or 2, but no more than that. The Vikings and the Thors are now there.
HyuN made a few more Mutalisks now. He's back up to 15, but he has lost 20 Mutalisks already throughout the entirety of this game. And this has not been the most economic game ever where he's actually in a position to lose that amount of Mutalisks. And I think at this point he's just kind of lost. Like, I don't know what to make anymore. I don't have enough Swarmos to defend all locations at once. Making Roaches is obviously not going to be very effective. I'm going to try to surprise him with Mutalisks, but this time GuMiho is prepared to deal with that. He has multiple Taurs in both armies. He's even throwing down a couple of missile turrets. He still has a few Vikings as well. He's going to pick up 1 more hatchery, and it seems like Polaris Hype Train will roll on at least for a little bit longer. GuMiho played a pretty cool series.
Yeah, he played excellent. He really played out of his mind. Just the decision making more than anything was insane.
Look at that Tor. Bam bam.
Yep.
He's been to the gym. Those are powerful punches.
Is he gonna get the hatchery? Yeah, he will.
Really?
Yeah, he will.
Oh wow. Must have been low on HP already. Or he's just that powerful?
No, he's really powerful. He's like...
He's just been... you want to say that the Thor has been lifting like crazy?
He's 3-3, man. And he's really big. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Of course, in general, you don't really want to fight with these mech units on creep against Locust. That's normally the one place you really don't want to find your units at. But he has so many tanks backing up this army. He's killing bases left and right. That even if he ends up losing one of these expensive Thors here and there, it's been alright. He's just shutting down bases left and right. He's been sniping hatcheries, which sounds very weird when someone's playing mech, because nobody ever snipes hatcheries when you play mech. But he's been able to make it work.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that kind of move with mech because it's so immobile on paper. But he's been getting like some medevacs to help out. He's just been hitting really strong timings, really good game sense, knowing when to move. Giving credit to HyuN as well. You know, maybe a lesser Zerg would have had more units, as silly as that sounds. But knowing when HyuN is supposed to drone and abusing that.
Yep, he broke out. He did break the rocks, but those roaches are like, man, I'm not going in there. I have a few too many roaches. A few too many of my brothers have fallen. I think it's best to just stay at the bottom of this ramp. On the top of this ramp, terrible, terrible things happen. I really like the amount of SCVs that he brought as well. So he's actually just repairing his stores while they are on the fire of Locust. Now these roaches do get found eventually, and they will still die. Rip and pepperoni to the roaches.
Yeah.
And pretty much rip to HyuN's army. The only thing that he still has going for himself is that Swarmos number that did eventually go up to 20. And 20 is a very, very difficult number to push in normally. But the thing is, HyuN doesn't really have any bases anymore to protect other than the first 3 he spawned with. And safe to say, most of them are going to be mined out in the near future.
Yeah, and this is the last Locust wave before GuMiho can sit in a position where he's going to be either doing damage to the Swarm host or to a base.
Yeah, he has to be a tiny bit careful though. I love everything that GuMiho has done so far, but there's only so many times you can just fight a Locust wave. HyuN is still sniping reinforcements as well. I still, of course, love GuMiho's position. He's a 4-base stand. Ooh, a couple of mutas that just hatched pretty much died there. These tanks will take care of that Locust wave as well. And like you said, they're getting closer and closer. It's almost the point where you can throw down a scan, and there we go. This is the first time in a while that Swarmos are in the range of fire. GuMiho is just executing this very well. For a tiny bit
he's
there,
playing extremely patiently. Yeah, even sieging a little bit before the Locust wave. So he's being really safe right now.
Yeah, he keeps getting a lot of good volleys as well with these stores. Mutas hatching from all directions makes it very tricky. GuMiho knows that the Swarmos are burrowed. HyuN is going to try to pick up some more reinforcements. There's nothing to pick up.
Yeah.
Oh no. GG is called. GuMiho will win his first match of the main event of the Intel Extreme Masters San Jose. Move on to the winners match, which once again will be played on Saturday, where he will go up against Symbol, another Korean Zerg player, a very strong one. HyuN is probably wondering, like, man, that was a strange series. I play a lot of StarCraft, but that was pretty unique for me.
Yeah, it really was. And a lot of it had to do with himself picking or choosing to go for those links early on. The first game, it worked great for him, but I think he pushed his luck a little bit too much with it.
Yeah, he tried to pretty much do it in all 3 games. And in the final game, I actually felt that it was going all right at first. At a certain point, he was up a reasonable amount of workers. He was going up to 3 bases. His mulas were going to take care of the Banshees that were forced to stay at home to defend against the Roaches. So I kind of saw the idea behind it, but it really all came down to that first push. Push that I have to admit I didn't have all that much faith in, because it just felt like, well,
it looks weak.
Yeah, it didn't look like, oh, this is that powerful mech punch. You know how we always say that bio is like, you know, you throw a couple of quick punches and mech is that one powerful punch. Yeah. This was like an in-between of both, but he was able to make it work. The Mulas were not able to take care of the Taurs because he stopped making mutas. He went into roaches.
And they were on the other side of the map as well. So, yeah, the 2 crucial moments for me and the 2 decisions that won GuMiho the game were that push, and before that, pulling the Banshees back without really seeing anything to defend those roaches. That was amazing.
He was like, where are those Banshees going? It was almost like a magnet. They were just going to the roaches. So excellent game sense there by our Korean Terran. Thank you very much for joining me for this series, Papi.
My pleasure.
Any final words before we throw to Paul?
Great series. Really happy to cast and keep watching IEM.
Yeah. Alrighty, Paul, take it away. Talk to us.
Thank you very much, guys, and particularly thanks to Cats as well for helping us out on the caster desk today. Congratulations, GuMiho. A fantastic win in the end, and a really tough match against a really great player. But talk to us about Map 3. Talk us through your thoughts as the game progressed, why your build was so mixed up, how you won the game eventually with the Thors taking off those swarm hosts. Just talk us through your mindset as that game unfolded.
일단 축하드리고요. 이제 그 3번째 경기에 대해서 좀 더 자세하게 좀 설명해 주세요. 해주세요.
어떤 점?
그냥 뭐 직접 게임을 하면서 네,
계속 링맹이 오길래 이번에도 링맹이 오는 줄 알고 처음에 링 돌렸을 때 링맹 의식하면서 했는데 상대가 알고 보니까 잘 째져 있더라고요. 그래서 마음이 급했는데 벤시가 되게 타격을 많이 줘서 그래서 이길 수 있었던 것 같아요.
So he says, just talking about that game, I honestly thought that he was going to go for Ling Banelings. So that's what I was kind of prepared for. But then as I went and looked, he actually had not. And he had actually built up a decent economy. But I think that I was able to win in the end because my Banshees were able to do such good damage. And GuMiho, despite the fact that you won 2-1, you did seem honestly more relieved than happy as you sat down on this couch. Is it because you expected this series to go easier, or why is it the fact that you just seem so relieved? 일단 이 같이 앉았는데 표정이 행복함보다는 좀 더 다행이다 이런 느낌이 나는데 그게 왜 그러세요?
그냥 아직 끝이 아니라서 그런 것 같은데 이제 만약에 졌으면은 되게 힘들게 가는 건데 이겨서 다행이다라는 느낌. 아직 완벽하게 끝난 게 아니기 때문에 그런 것 같아요.
So he says it's because this isn't the end. I know that I won the series, but all I could think was it's a relief because if I lost here, then it'd be another harder road. So I know that I'm still so far from later on in this tournament, and so I'm just so relieved that I was able to win here.
The open bracket that you played in yesterday compared to playing HyuN today, how would you compare the two experiences?
그럼 오늘 고석현 선수와 했던 경기와 어제 나왔던 오픈 브라켓이랑 비교하자면 그냥 어떤 게 그냥 비교하자면 뭐 오늘이 더 힘들었는지 아니면
오늘이 더 힘들었어요. 왜냐면 상대가 예상했던 플레이를 해주지 않아가지고 너무 당황했고 그거를 수습하는데 너무 힘들었어요.
He says, yeah, today was harder, and it's because I did not expect HyuN for the style that he went for. He was a lot more aggressive than I expected, and adjusting to what he came at me with was actually quite difficult. So I would say today was a lot harder than the open bracket I went through yesterday.
Okay, I've got one final very important question. Why did you pick a name for a nine-tailed fox? I want to know.
그 마지막 질문은 이름을 구미호라는 이름을 지었는데 왜 그렇게?
이거 그냥 그 당시에 지을 때 다양한 패턴으로 게임을 하고 싶었는데 구미호라는 게 한국에서는 여러 가지 모습으로 변신하는 그런 요괴니까 그래서 그냥 여러 가지 스타일로 게임 하려고 그렇게 지었어요.
So he says the reason why I chose the name GuMiho is because obviously it's the nine-tailed fox. I wanted to be a player that could play many different styles, and therefore I named myself GuMiho because just as the fox has 9 tails, it can have all these different appearances and such. I thought it would be the most appropriate name for me because that's the kind of player I wanted to be.
That's a much better story than I was expecting, I have to
is.
say.
I
like
totally
that. That's
agree.
very
I
good.
like it too.
Very good. The nine-tailed fox will reappear in San Jose for the first time ever as he will take to the stage, and he will do so in the winners bracket final because he has won his match here in Group C. We're going to move on to Group D next. We have 2 more matches to come today, so for those of you in Europe, stay awake, stay with us. Group D is going to be a cracker as well. We'll see you after the break.